The disaster known as Star Wars Outlaws continue. If only there was someone who warned you ahead of time. If only there was someone that could say, they told you so. Oh, that's right. That would be me. It was me, Austin. It was me all along. Ubisoft has asked a bunch of Star Wars Outlaws PS5 players to install an update and restart their save files from scratch due to the game-breaking bugs. If you continue on a prior save, you will unfortunately face issues and progression blockers. Players paid $110 for early access. That is right. This is what you get right here when you buy into the nonsense. And I told you, the moment that you see identity politics at the forefront of any project, whether it's video games, movies, television, you have to understand that everything else is going to be sacrificed. Story, quality, bug testing, just anything in general. Like, they don't care. They do not care. The only thing they care about is the virtue signaling that goes into it. This is why it's always a red flag. Every single time you see that at the forefront, it is a red flag. IGN says Ubisoft gives annoyed Star Wars Outlaws players who paid to play early but lost all progress a trinket and some loyalty points no one wants. Following this week's Star Wars Outlaws update that forced some early access players to restart the game, Ubisoft has offered a make good, an in-game trinket, and some loyalty points. In wake of releasing the update, Ubisoft warned PlayStation 5 players that they might have encountered issues with their current save if they were playing an older version of the game. The solution is to start a new save. Here's Ubisoft's initial message and blah, 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 blah. Players complained that they were forced into losing hours of progress through no fault of their own. A loss made all the worse by the fact that it occurred during Star Wars Outlaws' early access period, which was reserved for those who paid more than $100 for the gold edition. I will say it is your fault. It's your fault for actually buying into this bullshit. It's your fault for not paying attention. It's your fault for trusting Ubisoft. It's your fault for trusting Star Wars, Lucasfilm. It's your fault for not recognizing that anything that is designed with identity politics at the forefront is always going to have these problems. Always. There's this video from RGT85, and listen to what he has to say right here.
However, you have to remember something. If you got the super deluxe expensive version of Star Wars Outlaws, you got early access to the game. So you might have stayed up all night playing for 5 or 6 hours of the game, and now you're finding out, oh, your save file's corrupted. We need you to update your save file. Did anybody bug test this game? Did you put all the money into the marketing for this game, and you were just like, well, we'll just throw it out there. Fingers.
No, nobody bug tested this game. Nobody. Pay attention to what I've been saying. Nobody cared about the quality of this game. When this game was introduced, it was introduced with representation and diversity at the forefront, which no game, no show, no TV show, no movie, none of that should ever be at the forefront of the reason it was created. If a game is diverse, because that's how it worked out based on the story you're trying to tell, totally fine. If the game ends up evolving into that, if the movie evolves into that, or if you have a story that you want to tell, that's fine. But when your sole reason for creating a project and then marketing the project and then understanding that even if we get any criticism, all we have to say is that the fan base is racist and toxic, whenever that's at the forefront, no, there's no bug testing going on. There's none. Nobody cares about this stuff when they're focused on identity politics. It's never going to have a good ending.
Crossed, hope for the best. And now you kind of got to wonder some other things about this game, because obviously this is a major problem, and this is something that won't affect most people, because most people are going to have the game when it releases for everyone. I can't imagine that many people signed up for the early access copy of the PlayStation 5 version, but even one person is way too many to have this affected by. But here's the thing. when you got a review copy of this game, you got to choose what platform you wanted it on. And everyone went through the same channel that I did. It's a website that Ubisoft has. It's called Ubisoft Creator Program. Lifting the veil, because, you know, it is what it is. It's what you actually do. When you signed up to show interest that you wanted to review this game, you had to choose which platform you wanted. I chose Xbox Series S or X. You could choose, you know, Xbox, PlayStation, or...
Don't worry, I make the same mistake. I can't remember what the damn name of an Xbox console is these days. It's the most complicated thing imaginable with Xbox. Their branding has been horrible since the 360. 360 was peak on their branding.
PC. So now I'm thinking to myself, well, wait a minute. If there's a major bug with the PlayStation 5 version of this game, you know, if there's a major bug that limits progression, how did the people playing the PlayStation 5 version of Star Wars Outlaws actually review it? Because this is not something that seems to be very isolated. It literally says, if you continue on a prior save, you will unfortunately face issues and progression blockers.
But hey, that's okay. That's okay, because they've given you something. They've given you something. They've given you, right here, an in-game trinket and some loyalty points. So everything's fine. You got nothing to worry about, ladies and gentlemen. Your game's going to be good. All those hours you put into it because you paid us $110, don't worry about it. We got you covered. We got you covered. Some loyalty points are coming your way. Listen, anybody that paid $110 for this game, you've already been... there's no way that you're not knowledgeable enough to understand how big the problem is within the gaming industry and these AAA titles. You clearly follow this enough, so you're educated enough to know. So it's like, I don't know how you can feel sorry for people that have went out there like and given $110 for early access to Ubisoft and a Lucasfilm project. Like, if you listen, you can spend your money how you want to. I've always said, spend your time and your money on whatever you want and never apologize for it. But at some point in time, if you're willing to just give your money to companies that absolutely just despise you, that's fine. I'm just saying, I'm not going to feel sorry for you, because you should know better at this point in time. And if you're still denying the existence that these companies are pieces of shit, then that's on you, because they are. Ubisoft is a shitty company. Lucasfilm is a shitty company. EA is a shitty company. They just are. Activision's a shitty company. This is not up for debate. It doesn't mean you can't support them and purchase games that, like, I've bought games from all of those platforms in recent years. But nobody should feel sorry for me if I purchase something and it turns out to be a piece of shit. Nobody. Just like I don't think people should feel sorry for people that have went out of their way to give Ubisoft all your money only to have it all wiped away from you. Because they have proven time and time again that they hate you. They hate the customer. They hate the gamers. They hate the audience. So this is where we are. Star Wars Outlaws is a complete and total shit show on every possible level. And the game hasn't even had a wide release yet. So, whoa. This is going to be a fun one to go through. After the disaster known as The Acolyte was canceled, now you have the disaster known as Star Wars Outlaws. And this is following up off of Obi-Wan Kenobi, another disaster. Mandalorian Season 3, another disaster. And the list goes on and on. Lucasfilm continuing to just produce dog shit on top of dog shit. You guys have a great day. Thank you very much for checking out this video, and we will talk to you later.